What's up? What's up? Um, I just wanted to make just a review of this video here. I'll play it in a second. So we all know about all the situation that's taking place and unfolding in Mali. Um, you know, we we kind of see how intense the situation got. Um, so pretty much, I just want to send out this message that African leaders, especially West Africa, should be paying attention to this series of events. Um, if there is any, um, how should I say this? If our leaders have any common sense in West Africa, they will take this attack on Mali as an attack on everyone because it's not only going to stop over there. Now, let's just go through this short video.
In these images, Tuareg rebels celebrate seizing control of Kidal in northern Mali. Russian mercenaries who were helping protect the military government have confirmed they have...
Okay, so I'm going to go back a bit, just at that first frame. I want you to look at this, guys, man. Are these people that anybody would wish for them to run a country? Hmm? These are literally just savages, man. Look at them. Young kids indoctrinated, right? Look at this. Is this who anybody wants to see in a place of power? Think about the brutality, the inhumane act towards women and children by savagery like this. Look at this, right?
Tuareg rebels celebrate seizing control of Kidal in northern Mali. Russian mercenaries who were helping protect the military government have confirmed they have pulled out after reaching an agreement with the Azawad Liberation Front, or FLA. Mali authorities have not officially confirmed this, but a source close to the local governor told AFP news agency the following.
We have left Kidal. We are no longer there. It's the jihadists and the FLA who are in Kidal.
Instead, on Sunday, the...
See, I'm not sure if that's even factual or if anybody has fact checked that. I'm not saying it's not possible. We just gotta be skeptical with France 24, BBC, and all this other Western propaganda machines.
Malian army chief of staff spoke about a redeployment of troops around 100 kilometers away.
And do you see how they are glamorizing and showing off this? To me, I'll call them savages, man. You might call them T groups or whatever. It's almost as if there's content. This is what they want to show the world. As we already know the propaganda because a certain group of people don't like the fact that some countries in West Africa no longer need them. They were never needed in the first place.
From the city.
What sets the Kidal region apart is that we're in the process of redeploying our forces, with a repositioning of our forces in the town of Anefis.
And again, people gotta realize this whole ordeal was some dirty, underhanded tactics that they used. What is it? They started attacking at 4 a.m. I'm not saying it breaks any rules of law. Of war. It is, legit, but it just gets to show you that these people are cowardly. They wouldn't come face to face. So obviously they're using all kind of dirty tactics, right? Again, this is where I say we're dealing with savages here. But we all know who's training and funding them, so they would also act like the same people that are training because they're out there screaming Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. To me that's really strange after you are eliminating innocent children, older people, women, and then you're screaming Allahu Akbar.
For decades, Kidal had been under the control of rebel groups. The city was recaptured in November 2023 by the Malian army, with the support of the Russian state-funded mercenary Wagner Group, which has since been replaced by Africa Corps. Over the weekend, the FLA, working alongside the Al-Qaeda affiliate Jenin, orchestrated a series of attacks across the country. Fighting took place in Kidal and Gao in the north. On Monday, Jenin said Malian forces had surrendered its fighters to Tessit.
And that's another thing too. People gotta realize this country right here, Mauritania, plays a big role in these attacks. And in my opinion, I think the AES should deal with this country. It has been, problematic for a very long time. I think once they deal with these T groups, Mauritania, and I also think they should do something about Algeria. Whether it's cut off ties and then make sure everybody in the ECOWAS group does not do any dealings with them, and maybe try to even convince our brothers and partners in South Africa and East Africa not to do any business with them, period. Algeria is also a part of this.
South of
I mean, it's got to be suspicious, since recently Algeria and France started having this peaceful pacts and all these other things or agreements that they all of a sudden start having, which, for the longest time, I thought they had issues going on between the two. So obviously they found a common enemy.
of Gao. Attacks were also reported in the central cities of Savare and Mopti, to the south of Bamako, and in Kati, some 15 kilometres northwest of the capital, where Defence Minister Sadio Kamara was killed at home. The Malian junta's leader, Assimi Goïta, has not been seen or spoken publicly since unrest broke out, but authorities say he is safe. His military government has been severely weakened.
And as you notice what they're saying about the leader, they have been trying to find out where he is because they're literally hoping. These people are drooling in the hopes that Assimi Goïta was hit. Um, he's already shown himself. He was at the hospital. I believe he was visiting the 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 parents of the victims of this barbaric attack. At the end of the day, I do believe the Malian army is very strong. Um, and then kudos to Russia for giving a helping hand. And let's be frank, you know, if this was a war where it's literally, uh, um, let's just say the T groups versus the Malian forces, the T groups will get dealt with in no time. But we already know there's mercenaries outside, and I just wish like the Malian government is able to capture some of these people and broadcast them for them to show the whole world because we do have some people that are deniers. Um, the ones that are in support of imperialism, right? Both from the continent and um, the children of the imperialists. They already make assumption that we're gonna blame France, but this is just not France alone. But they are key players allegedly. But however you want to spin it, you should not expect any help from the West, the EU, their countries or their people. They're always going to support each other. They're literally hive minded. Um, Literally, even if France, let's say France and England had issues, um, internal issues, just for the sake of like pillaging and doing something towards non-European countries, they will support each other. So that's how the hive mindset of these people work. They do have some of their agents working tirelessly to spin this narrative and try to pretty much weaken the morale of the African and the diaspora Africans all across the globe. Because we're all cheering for the Malian military to get rid of this, and then you got to question these things like how did terrorism ended up in the Sahel, right? Um, I thought Al Qaeda was fighting with Americans. So how come they're not at the borders in of America? Why are they in Africa, right? And then there's a lot of questions that could be asked. Um, who funded and trained these people? We already seen some members of parliament already came out admitting that they've been funding these groups, man. So, and it begs the question, like, was all the whole operation of, or rather in Afghanistan, was that all theater? Because if you're telling me they created the group, funded it, whether they hijacked it or not, and then this group is still operating, right? From Syria to Libya now in the Sahel. So wherever there's minerals and interest for the West. So this is why I said these people are savages, very barbaric, low IQ, because, I hate to say it, because anybody with two brain cells would not be a proxy for, external, um, some sort of external force, because at the end of the day, if you know what you're fighting for is legit, you would have the right help coming to your aid. But when you know, or rather, when you're unaware, I mean, at this point, it's not even about morals, because these people really don't have any moral. It's like lack of morals, because when you look at it, they they don't care, man. This, like I said, I'm gonna go back to just saying this are literally just savages. Because I'm sorry, how you gonna have people that look like that, right? That want to lead a portion of the land? Like, make it make sense, though. Are you thinking you're fighting to free the country? You're not even fighting for the civil. They're not even. They're literally just trying to destroy the country and massively, pretty much what they're doing in Sudan. That's exactly what these people are after, right? So they'll have some leader at the top who benefits from extracting minerals in exchange for weapons, whether to the UAE, Turkey, the US, and all these various different countries. Yeah, it's interesting because again, it's the same playbook in Sudan. Minerals out, weapons in. It's really odd, man. And the same, like, this is so idiotic, because the same people that are underground causing all this havoc, they don't benefit anything apart from having access to vulnerable people in the civilian population. They don't really benefit anything. It's their leaders and the children of those leaders that are actually seeing any monetary gain. And this is how pathetic this whole situation is, right? And to the parents of most of these people they're recruiting, because it's hard for them to be shipping people from across the sea. But you're gonna have groups in North Africa. You're gonna have some groups in West Africa that are Islamized and are being prepped for stuff like this, right? We're already seeing that happening in Nigeria. Most of these kids lack education. They have no basic education or understanding of the world. They've been brainwashed so bad that it's easy for them to have some sort of fanatical behavior, right? They're gonna think that they're fighting for uh, uh, some sort of religious motive, and that alone to them is sufficient to die for. So we're dealing with a bunch of, again, I'm going to use this word and I'm not using it lightly, savages at the end of the day.